Do you have a love-hate relationship with gesture typing? Do you value your privacy too much to trust everything you type to closed-source internet-enabled keyboards? Well, here's your chance to help make open-source gesture typing a little better. Hi, my name's Eclexic. I'm part of a project funded by the NLNet Foundation to help improve gesture typing in Heliboard. Heliboard is a free and open-source on-screen keyboard for Android that has customizability and privacy at its core. Unfortunately, gesture typing in Heliboard relies on a code library that Heliboard doesn't control, and if we're honest, isn't the easiest for users to set up. It's my job to replace that library while making it easier and free for anyone to use or improve. You can find a link to the grant announcement in the description. We want volunteers to gesture type words inside of a special data collection screen in Heliboard so that we have lots of examples of how people gesture type. We'll use these examples as something to test our code against, allowing us to iterate more quickly and accurately instead of waiting on user feedback with each change we make. We're not just after English submissions either. If you speak a non-English language for which Heliboard supports gesture typing, we highly encourage you to contribute. Not all languages properly support gesture typing, but the best way to find out if your language is supported is to try it. Heliboard takes privacy seriously. By design, it cannot connect to the internet. That choice is meant as proof that we're not stealing your data. However, it also means if you'd like to donate data, you need to email it to us yourself. When you want to submit your data, you can have Heliboard create an email addressed to our Proton Mail in the email app of your choice, and it will just attach your data for you. You can also export the data on your phone and do with it as you please. All the data we collect is exported as zipped JSON files that are meant to be human readable. This is a gesture I made for the word scrutiny, so let's put it under some scrutiny, shall we? This is the application the gesture was collected in. This indicates if we already know about the library used to provide suggestions for this gesture. This is which word you were asked to gesture. It lets us know what answer we should get when testing. This is the language you were typing in. Here are the best suggestions that were offered. This lets us compare suggestions from our code against those offered to you. Here, we have the data needed to reproduce the gesture, including the places on the screen you touched, the timing, and the information relevant to multi-touch gestures. This is the keyboard layout that was used, including the keys, their sizes, positions, labels, and alternative labels on a long press. This indicates whether the data was collected manually or in the background. Background collection is a planned feature that will be strictly opt-in and still requires emailing the data to us. And finally, this is an ID to help us keep track of every gesture. To protect your privacy, no context will ever be included with any of the words you gesture. When we need context, we'll create it ourselves using publicly available sources. In addition to looking at the JSON files directly, you can also use Swipeoscope, a visualizer written specifically for this project. Link in the description. All volunteered data will be made publicly available and will be licensed under the Creative Commons BYSA 4.0 license. This is the same license Wikipedia uses and lets anyone use, share, or make derivatives of the data. The only restriction is to properly cite the authors of the data and to release any derivative work under the same license. A link to the license is in the description. To protect your privacy, we're not going to include your name or email in the dataset. The author will be listed as the Heliboard Gesture Data Project contributors. While we'd love to credit you more directly for your hard work, we think it's safer to identify nobody, rather than possibly identify somebody who didn't wish to be. We made this choice to help protect volunteers that decide to use background collection in the future. This isn't for sure going to prevent people doxing themselves via background collection. However, we'd rather make it as safe as we can. You can find a link to an article about the difficulty of truly anonymizing data in the description. To be clear, when you send us your data, you'll be granting us permission to release it under the Creative Commons BYSA 4.0 license, without you as an author. However, you still have the right to do as you please with your copy of the data. It is yours after all. You made it. If you want to contribute in other ways, check the description for things we need help with. Or you can contact me directly. The best way is to seek me out on Mastodon or Matrix. Links in the description. I also own the email address that data submissions will get sent to. However, that email is not really meant for normal correspondence. If you email me there, I may or may not respond. The data collection period ends November 30th of this year, 2026, And we hope you submit your data well before that, because the sooner we get it, the more helpful it is. Also, it'd be a great help if you shared this video with someone else who may want to contribute, be that a real-life friend, someone you talk with online, or your social media followers. Just remember, they need an Android phone, and they may need some help getting started if they're not very techy. The last part of this video is a quick tutorial on producing gesture data and sending it to us. For people who find text tutorials a little bit easier, there is a link in the description. First, you'll need to install Heliboard. Currently, you can install it using F-Droid or from the GitHub. Links are in the description, along with a link on how to install F-Droid. If your device doesn't let you gesture type in Heliboard out of the box, you'll need to download a library used for gesture typing. MindTheGApps distributes a Google library that will work. Links to the relevant files in the MindTheGApps GitLab repository in the description. Before you download a library file, you'll need to know the architecture of your phone's CPU. Luckily, Heliboard has you covered. Go to the advanced settings, tap here to load a library, and Heliboard will tell you which architecture you will need, whether ARM, ARM64, or x86-64. Then, once you have it downloaded, just tap Load Library and locate the file in your file browser. Next, go to the Gesture Data Gathering screen in Heliboard settings. From here, all you do is gesture the words displayed on screen. Don't try to perfectly gesture each word. We aren't giving out prizes. We need real data, not stuff engineered in a lab. It's a test of our ability to get the phone to do what you expect, not a test of your motor abilities. Gesture as many or as few examples as you like. Put it aside, come back later, as often as you like. Leaving the data gathering screen won't cause any data to be lost. When you're ready, click here to attach your data to an email. This should create an email addressed to us with your data attached as a zip file. Confirm the zip file is attached and hit send. If something goes wrong, you can always export your data to your phone, make a new email addressed to us, and attach the zip file manually. Remember, the data collection period ends November 30th of this year, 2026, and we hope you submit your data well before that. Don't forget to check the description and share this video with someone who might want to contribute. Thanks for your patience in getting through this video, and I hope that you decide that you'd like to contribute. Toodles.